Holy f***, I had the worst burnout of my life. Here's what I did to fix it. Let's get started. What's happening, guys? Matt here, back with another video. If you don't know me, I'm a final year science education student at the University of New South Wales. What we're going to talk about today are signs that you might be burning out and how to actually fix them. Burnout. One of the worst things that could ever happen to you. You're trying to be productive, you're trying to make yourself better every single day, but you've hit a roadblock. You start to lose motivation, start to lose focus. You lose interest in things that you used to be interested in. What the fuck? You out of battery?
She's retired. My mount for my phone has now literally just, I'm gonna leave you right here as we record to charge.
And you start to get frustrated at really small things. Now, if this sounds familiar, it might be a sign that you're actually burning out. Now, the source of that burnout might be really obvious. It might be from work, university, or it might be a little bit more subtle, like your interpersonal relationships. The relationship with your parents and your partner and your friends, they might be affecting you as well. Whatever the source is, you have to find out what it is and stop it in its tracks before you hit that dreaded burnout. Burnout is no joke. The worst burnout in my life was spread across 2019 to 2020, where I had flow-on effects from my university changing the term system from 2 terms a year to 3 terms a year. So what they said about this trimester system was that it was supposed to help students. All I felt was the optimization process. All the courses that I was taking were trying to cram all the content into 10 weeks. Now, this also aligned with the 2020 global pandemic, and both of these clashing together really burnt me out. But to be fair, I was also in my 4th year of my chemistry undergrad degree, so uni was ramping up quite a bit, so it makes sense. For example, I was working 3 days at a retail job, I was private tutoring like 3-4 days a week, I was doing university extracurriculars, I was doing full-time uni, and on top of that, I was also doing gym 4 times a week. Oh, that was tiring. Now, it's safe to say that I definitely burnt out during this time. Have you guys ever burnt out like that? I'd love to hear. Let me know down in the comments below. Now that I think about it, I can't really remember a full week during that 2019 to 2020 period. It kind of just all blurred together, to be honest. And so the way that I actually recovered was I had to start cutting things out of my life. I had to admit to myself that there was no way that I could work at that capacity for the rest of my life. I think what I remember was that I was doing 13 days on and I had 1 day break, and then I did another 13 days. Now, I had to cut these things out until I got to a point where I felt like I was comfortable enough to cruise at this point. It got to a point during 2020 where all I was doing was full-time university, private tutoring, and gym. And that is what burnout will do to you. Eventually, I was able to add things back to my plate once I actually recovered from this burnout. Now, this year in 2021, I have a very similar workload as I did in 2020, but I'm not burnt out. And the reason why this is because I developed really good habits, a link to the video right here, and I also developed some tips to prevent myself from burning out if I ever felt like I was. So here are the tips that I have to prevent you from burning out. The first tip is to learn the easiest word in the English language. No. Now, if you're a people pleaser like me, you can't not say no. People throw things at you and you just say yes without really looking at your schedule. Oh no, what did I do? Okay, it's fine. And if this sounds like you need to start using this word, no. Saying no to more things will allow you to put energy where you actually want to. Now, as Mark Manson would say, if it's not yes, then it's no. And I can't agree more to that. Once you start saying no to more things in your life, you give yourself more freedom and options in order to say yes to things that matter. And as a result, you'll be less burnt out because you have less on your plate. Do you guys remember the movie Yes Man, Jim Carrey, the guy who says yes to everything? I want you guys to be the opposite. Rather than saying yes to everything, say no. Practice saying no. Now, the second tip that I have to prevent yourself from burning out is using the Pomodoro Technique. Ooh, shock horror, another productivity guy telling me to use the Pomodoro Technique. But hear me out. So for the
one person who doesn't know, the Pomodoro Technique was invented in the 1980s by a university student named Francesco Cirillo. Did I say that right? Cirillo? Perillo? Forget it. Francesco developed a method where you study for 25-minute blocks and then you take a 5-minute break. Now during this break, don't go on your phone, don't do any of this or that. Just get up, do a couple of stretches, do a couple push-ups, be a little bit active, go get a drink. What you'll find is that if you have intentional breaks, it's a lot easier to focus on the thing that you're doing. Now, if you find that 25 minutes is too short, extend it to 1-hour blocks and 10-minute breaks. It still works. Just use intentional breaks when you're doing something. So research has shown that the Pomodoro Technique is really good at helping you get started, which for a lot of people is the barrier to entry. So next time you're doing a big task or you're at work, whip out the Pomodoro Technique and split up your focus into 25-minute blocks and 5-minute breaks. If you guys are finding this video useful, I'd really appreciate if you guys left me a thumbs up. It really does help me out. But let's keep the train rolling. Now, the last and final tip that I have for you is to find a passion project. That is, have a project that you genuinely enjoy that you can productively procrastinate when the work becomes too mundane. For me, I've had many passion projects. For example, my home gym setup, the productivity setup that you see right behind me, and well, starting this YouTube channel. Find some projects that you can work on to get away from all the work that you have to do. Your passion project can be really complex, like learning a new language or playing a musical instrument, or it can be really simple. For example, picking up and reading that book that you've been putting off forever. What you'll find is that if you have something to look forward to, you'll be a lot more excited to do your work and to prevent that dreaded burnout. What passion project are you guys currently working on? Me personally, I'm working on my YouTube channel and financial freedom. Now, if you've ever experienced burnout, you know exactly how horrible it really is. So it's really important to manage the burnout before it gets to a point of no return. And I had the worst burnout in 2019 and 2020. Holy that was bad. Luckily for me, I had some habits to fall back onto. If you're interested, you can learn about all the habits that I've learned right here. Thanks for tuning in today, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.